My name is Emma Meyer, and I will be presenting my favorite brain part, which is the amygdala. Snakes, storms, spiders, clowns, heights. Some of these are the most common fears. You may be looking at this slide with an unpleasant feeling. Fear is a feeling of distress, apprehension, or alarm caused by impending danger or pain. It is a vital response to physical and emotional danger. Fear is experienced in your mind but triggers a strong physical reaction in your body. For me, some of my fears include dogs and drowning. My fear of dogs has been triggered by an experience I had when I was younger. I've mostly outgrown this fear, but my fear of drowning is still very real. There is something about being underwater and not being able to breathe that gives me goosebumps. So, what are some of your fears? Before we get into why I'm talking about fears, let's first look at the limbic system. The limbic system is the part of the brain involved in our behavioral and emotional responses, especially when it comes to behaviors we need for survival. The structures of the limbic system play a significant role in learning, motivated behavior, and emotion. Damage to the limbic system can cause the hormonal system to become unbalanced. The ability to perceive hunger or a feeling of satiety is reduced, and emotional reactions can change. Structures of the limbic system include the hippocampus that deals with stress, the amygdala, which connects stimuli and their emotional meanings, including fear, aggression, reward, memory, and motivation, the anterior cingulate cortex, which is involved in pain and decision making, the posterior cingulate cortex involved with memory and consciousness, the septal area involved in reward, and the parahippocampal gyrus, mammillary bodies, and fornix, which are involved in memory. Now let's focus in on what is the amygdala. And it is an almond-shaped structure in the temporal lobes that is part of the limbic system. There are 2 amygdalae per person. The amygdala is found in the temporal lobes, and in this picture you can see that each one of the amygdalae is found in each cerebral hemisphere. The amygdala plays an important role in connecting stimuli to their emotional meanings, both positive and negative. The amygdala has roles in emotional responses such as fear, anxiety, and aggression, reward, processing of memory, learning, motivation, and even arousal. The amygdala is a processing center that gets messages from all over the body and outside of the body through our senses. It then takes the information and processes it to create an appropriate response to the messages it receives. When it is stimulated, it can cause intense responses of emotions. Fear is one of the responses that the amygdala is associated with. Responses to fear can include increased heart rate, increased muscle tension, and sweaty palms. These physical reactions get the body and mind ready for a fight or flight reaction. The amygdala helps to form and store memories of events and emotions so that an individual may be able to recognize similar events in the future. The amygdala in humans also plays a role in sexual activity and sex drive. It can change in size and shape based on the age, hormonal activity, and gender of the individual. The amygdala lets us react to danger. There can be 2 pathways. The long route starts with a sensory stimulus, such as a strange shape or a menacing sound. This message is sent to the thalamus. The thalamus then sends this message on to the appropriate sensory cortex, for example, the visual or auditory cortex, which evaluates it and assigns it a meaning. If this meaning is threatening, then the amygdala is informed and produces the appropriate emotional responses. On the other hand, the short route involves a part of the message received by the thalamus to directly transfer to the amygdala without even passing through the cortex. This shorter route can become crucial in life or death situations. Although it is faster, the shorter route may not provide accuracy in terms of threats and danger. Therefore, the longer route that takes a few fractions of a second longer is the one that is accurate. As we just learned, a person has 2 amygdalae in each side of their brain. Since on opposite sides, there are some differences in the right and left amygdala. The right and left amygdalae have separate memory systems, but they work together to evaluate incoming information and process an emotional response, encoding, storing, and retrieving memories that are associated with certain cues in the environment. The right amygdala is more strongly associated with negative emotions such as fear and sadness and is an important link in parts of memory. The left amygdala has been associated with both positive and negative emotional responses, plays a part in the brain's reward system, and there is no connection to memory. There are also differences between the amygdala in males and females. Women on average retain stronger and more vivid memories for emotional events than men. Women can recall emotional memories more quickly and can recall more emotion memories in a given period of time. They report that the emotional memories they recall are richer, more vivid, and more intense. They experience a greater enhancement of their memory by emotion. The fact that emotional memories tend to be stronger for women may be linked to the greater prevalence of depression and some types of anxiety disorders in women. Male amygdala is significantly larger than female amygdala. Brain regions that differ in size between men and women tend also to be the same regions that contain high concentrations of sex hormone receptors, suggestion that male and female hormones play a role in determining the size of specific brain regions such as the amygdala during brain development. Men are more psychologically and physiologically responsive to visual sexually arousing stimuli and display a greater motivation to seek out and interact with such stimuli. The amygdala has been associated with many diseases, mainly neuropsychiatric. The amygdala is studied in its connection with anxiety disorders, panic disorder, PTSD, bipolar disorder, depression, schizophrenia, and autism. PTSD patients have a hyperactive amygdala, and such people overreact to memories of the traumatic events. Their amygdala is hyperactive even in a resting state. In studies, children with anxiety disorders showed an exaggerated amygdala response to fearful faces compared to healthy children, whereas depressed children showed a blunted amygdala response to these faces. Children also with general anxiety disorder are reported to have enlarged right amygdala volumes.
So why did I choose the amygdala as my favorite brain part? Well, personally, I think it's fascinating that the amygdala is so essential to your ability to feel certain emotions and to perceive them in other people. These emotions and behaviors associated with the amygdala are what make us ourselves, and we experience these emotions every day. We're all afraid of something. We all can get angry or sad sometimes. We all use our memory and our learning new things every day. I also think it's pretty cool that when the amygdala is removed, you can lose the sense of fear, which can either be a really great thing or a really bad thing.